The first is always like an icebreaker, so I can understand your little hesitation. But it's okay, I assure you. You'll go first? Thank you.
Well, the reason I came tonight is I just...
Your dad is deceased? Not sure about your father.
Well, I know who he is. But
See, you know his name? Okay. You don't have to tell me anymore. Okay. So why do you suppose you're asking about your father? Why is it you want to find him? For there's a question below that question, you see. So let's just talk about that for a moment. Why do you suppose you want to find your father? Do you feel the sadness when I ask you that?
Well, I just, mainly I want to know why my father never found me.
Yeah. The real question is, were you wanted? And are you loved? And if you were wanted, and if you were loved, then how come he has not come forth to let you know so? Give me a moment, please. This man you're speaking of is full of shame. He has so much shame that he does not believe he is worthy of coming forth. He has so much shame that he wants to hide the identity of who he is, not only from you and your brother, but from many. He has so much shame that he's in agony most of the time. He has so much shame that he does not know how to be at peace and live life in joyous harmony. He has a great deal of shame. And this shame keeps him from falling upon you or your brother. This shame keeps him hidden, if you will. It keeps him in remote places sometimes. It keeps him secret, as if he lives a secretive kind of life. The shame that he carries is not really even his. The shame that he carries has been passed down to him, but he believes it is his shame. But the shame is actually 3 generations long. From one man to the next man to the next man, you see. So this shame has been long going. Beneath his shame, he wants to know you. He wants to love his children. He wants to connect, not only with you and your brother, but with life itself. But he doesn't know how to get beneath his shame so that he can connect the love that he feels deep within his heart for his children and for life itself. You are to know it is not about his love for you, but his shame overrides his love, even for the love of life, you see. He just feels as if he cannot breathe in the sense of opening himself up to the fullness of life. So he hides. It's as if he lives an obscure kind of life. And he's afraid to come out, for he has the shame. He thinks the shame makes him a bad person. But in his heart, he's not a bad person. In his heart, he loves deeply. And in his heart, he misses you and your brother terribly. In his heart, he misses life. And I want you to know that there's a prayer that he says for you and your brother every single day of his life. There is not one day that goes by that this man does not say this prayer. Not one day. And I have goosebumps all over my body as I tell you, not one day. For it does not matter where he's at, for you and your brother are always, 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 forevermore in his heart. And he will pray for you forevermore. He is sorry. I can feel his apology that he says in his head to you and your brother. He does not know how to overcome his shame. Please forgive him. He wants your forgiveness. that he does not know how to overcome this shame. That you have not been forgotten. Not one day of his life have you ever been forgotten. Not one day. In fact, I don't know if he knows you and your brother's birthdays. Either he knows them or he has chosen dates that he celebrates for you and your brother's birthdays. He has a special ceremony once a year for you and a special ceremony once a year for your brother. And he has this little cupcake and he puts a candle on it and he says this prayer and he blows it out and he makes a wish that you and your brother are okay and that you'll forgive him and that you'll know that he loves you. It's not the love that's keeping him from you, or lack of. It is his shame. Please know the truth from now on, that he loves you and he will always love you. He will pray for you every day and he celebrates your birthday once a year. As a special prayer, I'm seeing if I can hear the words. He doesn't want me to say these words out loud. He has a special prayer, and in this prayer, he can tell me, I can tell you the gist of it. He blesses you, he blesses your brother, he sends love to you, he sends love to your brother, he asks forgiveness from you, he asks forgiveness from your brother. So it's love, it's a blessing, it's a forgiveness. And he asks for your protection for you and your sibling. There's always a, please protect them from all harm. Done every day, every single day of his life. Now you can know that you are fully and completely loved. However, this man does not know how to remove the shame. You can forgive him for that. You'll be able to begin experiencing his love. For he sends it to you, but you have not known how to allow it into your heart. For you question that he loved you. But in not questioning that he loves you, and in forgiving him for not being able to move beyond his shame, you will begin feeling his love within you. And much healing will take place. Are you willing to forgive him? In that forgiveness, you will begin experiencing his love. And if you like, you can begin breathing in his love every day. Like you can breathe in deeply, and with that in-breath, you can say, I am breathing in the love of my Father, or the love of my dad, what you would like to call him. Papa, whatever you like to call him. I'm breathing in that love. You can imagine that love coming forth, and it will come forth. And what you will do is help him to let go of just a little bit of that shame. For he will feel your acceptance of his love. And it will be healing on both ends. Much healing. For he has a great deal of shame. So it's as if you're going to take a little chunk of it away by allowing his love to come in. Have any questions or thoughts about any of that? He's not near you. I can tell you that. He's far away. It feels like he's far away. I'm not going to be told exactly where he's at. I don't know why, but I trust that, and I want to honor that. I am told what you most need to hear, and when I tell you what you most need to hear, I'm not telling you because you need to hear it and I'm making it up. I don't know this. I'm telling you the truth of what you most need to hear. Do you understand? So, for whatever reason, he could not uncover to you in this life. He cannot do it. Do you see? There's way too much shame. So if you can learn to accept his love from afar, for every night he prays for you, every birthday he celebrates you. In his prayer, he sends his love, his blessing, he asks for protection, and he asks for forgiveness. If you can accept this as the truth, and I promise you, it is, will change your life and His. Anything else? Okay, you just sit with that. Breathe in. I've just given you information that, think of it like a year worth of counseling. So I want you to listen for a moment, please. This is important. Okay? I want you to be very, very gentle with yourself for at least a week. So you walk calmly, you talk calmly, no hurry, no rushing, just resting more, because I've given you information that's going deep inside of you through many layers. And this information needs you to handle it with the way in which it's given, with love and gentleness. Okay? And respect. Please treat yourself accordingly. You are welcome. Thank you. That's how it works, folks. Whoever would like to go next, as you continue on living, or as you continue? Okay.
And learning.
Health is tied up to your identity. It's an aspect of yourself that you haven't not fully claimed. You have not owned completely. You have not accepted. Do you understand what I'm speaking of? Health within your body, or this lack of health, is actually due to you not being able to, from your perspective, or willing to, or safe enough to own all of you, all of your identity, you see, all of who you are. And once you can accept or allow this allness of you, the fullness of your identity, accept it wholeheartedly, illness will have no way to be in your body. You can try natural remedies or traditional remedies. It will go away, come back, go away, come back, like that. It's not going to completely subside until you can fully embrace who you are. What do you suppose is holding you back from fully embracing who you are? Judgment? Yeah. You believe that all that is, God, Great Spirit, Buddha, whatever you call that, the great creator of all that is, judges you? Yeah. So the real fear is that you're being judged from the Most High, more so than even from people. Like you're projecting it's about people, right? Well, if they just would accept me, and if I didn't have to fear their judgment, then I could relax in who I am. But your bigger fear is that you're being judged up here, from here. Just feeling the energy. I want to respect how much you're willing to share in a group and not. Okay? There is no judgment from the Most High. There is none. Zero judgment. There is only love. I'm telling you this in the manner in which I'm hearing it, and I feel it. You'll notice I'm telling you it in a very strong, authoritarian kind of tone. It's because I'm hearing to tell you that way in this authoritative tone. There is no judgment. And I'm hearing, if I have to hit you over the head with it, then hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, we will.
Out of love, of course. There's no judgment. The heavens, the Creator, wants to scream it, jump it, yell it, embrace you with it. There is no judgment. There is no judgment. There is no judgment. There is only love. For you are part of the creation of all that is. And part of the creation of all that is made in the perfection of the creation. You can be no less. You cannot. You cannot be one iota less than the Creator who created you. So arrogant of you to think you can, don't you think? You are part of the mighty creation. And the mighty creation created you for an aspect of itself to be out in the world as you. And you are saying, are you judging me? It cannot be possible. There is no judgment. There is only love. And once you can accept that you are not judged from here, you will quit projecting that you are judged out here. You understand? So, they want me to give you something to do. Feels like you have a spirit guide that's just stepped forth for you. Very strong spirit guide. Yeah, that spirit guide is here. And that spirit guide is very much wanting me to give you something to do, because this spirit guide is tired of messing around with you in this identity thing. I mean, I'm talking like they're talking to me. This isn't how I would talk to you. So, I have a disclaimer here. It's not me. But I'm talking to you in a manner in which you can handle it, right? You feel that? Okay. I didn't talk to her that way. You notice that? Your spirit guide says, let's get this show on the road. Okay. To create a vision of yourself living in the fullness of your identity. You may create one scene, one episode, if you will, but you're to create this vision, this episode, this scene of seeing yourself in the fullness of your identity. And then once you create this scene, and you're in the fullness of your identity, you're to feel that the love of all that is, the creator of all that is, you're to feel that love come upon you and encircle you and enfold you as you're in that scene. You're to do this as a vision or as a visualization. So you want to take some deep breaths, relax your body completely, and be in the meditative mode. And once you're in that meditative way, you're then to envision yourself in the fullness of your identity, and then you're to see love. You may give it a color, coming from above and coming down directly upon you, within you, around you, enfolding you, embracing you forevermore. And you're to do this envisioning, this visualization, once a day for, wow, they really wait 60 days. And then after 60 days, it will be who you are. Like you will no longer doubt that you are being judged. You will know, for you will have experienced day after day after day, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 60 days, this love coming forth to enfold you. When you fully accept that I am a part of the creation of all that is, therefore I am the perfection of who I am and the fullness of my identity. Got it? Any questions about that? Are you a good note taker?
Oh yeah, I got it all.
Good. Do you have any other questions? Do you feel complete with what I've given you? I am happy for you. I feel very happy for you. Do not discount this simple little exercise, for it can be life-changing if you choose to do it. Okay? Welcome. Okay. Next. Yes, ma'am.
I've been having a bit of bad luck in my life recently.
Your question is?
I just need to find out what's blocking me from achieving.
Let me just rephrase it, if I may. So your question is, what is blocking you from allowing in what you want, or stopping the bad luck, if you will, or not lack of good luck? Is that correct? Okay. Would you put down your notebook for a moment? Because you're in a stance of blocking even as I begin to tell you. Okay? It's an unconscious thing. Breathe with me for a moment, because you're a little bit afraid to unblock. So as I try to receive the answer, there's a block. You understand? So you're actually blocking my help to you. So I'll need you to be open to really hearing what is going to be allowed to come forth. Okay? So if you'll just I want you to imagine, you'll breathe with me for a moment, and imagine that you're just opening up. But imagine as you're opening up, you have this blanket of safety around you, this blanket of comfort. You may envision a blanket, give it a color, it can be whatever material you like, but while you're opening up, you have a safety blanket that's covering you. Can you do that? So will you close your eyes with me? And if everyone else will close their eyes and breathe at the same time, it will help create safety for her. She won't feel looked upon. Okay? So let's all close our eyes, breathing in, expanding with our safety blankets on now. Opening ourselves up as we keep ourselves safe with our safety blankets, exhaling slowly. Another deep opening breath in. A slow exhalation. Allowing ourselves to open more and more while we envision our blanket of safety around us. Another deep opening breath in. And a slow exhalation. One last long, deep opening breath in. And slowly exhaling. Okay, open your eyes now. How worthy are you? You could measure your worthiness. How worthy are you? Those are good words, and they are truth words. However, my dear, you don't feel them in your heart. You know them on a mental level. You know the truth. You're pretty savvy, actually. I get that you're quick study. You catch on quick. Your mental body is sharp as can be. However, on a heart level, you doubt that you're worthy. You doubt that you're deserving. So it's a combination of worthiness and deserving. You all hear that? Because there's someone over here who really needs to hear it too. Yeah, more than one. You're talking for a lot of people in this room right now. This is a big issue in this group. It's probably the running theme in this group. Thank you for having the courage to bring forth that what most of these people here needed to hear. Thank you. So the reason you're running into bad luck or not achieving your goals comes down to feeling worthy and deserving. Hear that over here real clear? There's not a one of you in this room, not a one, that isn't worthy of all that she or he desires. Not a one. You were born from the Almighty. You come from all that is. You were not made by your mother and your father. You were made of God. And as a making of God, you cannot be less than God intended you to be. Therefore, you cannot be unworthy or undeserving. Ask him, he knows all about it. Take a breath, just calm down. Yeah, just calm down. You're going to get what you need. Calm down. I'm going to help you. Just calm a little more. Yeah, just keep breathing and focusing on the rhythm of your breathing. It will help you to receive. You know that you have a special purpose in life. That's what I'm hearing. Did you know that? Well, I'm hearing you have a special purpose in life. There's no one special, or there's no one not special. But we each have a certain destiny that we've come forth to fulfill. And I'm told to use the word special with yours. Wow! Not only are you made in the creation of all that is, you even have a special purpose. And yet you question your worthiness and your deservability. I'm seeing a paper in my mind, and it's a sheet, and it's called Deservability Treatment. And it's something I used to teach with some class a little part of some class. I'm to give it to you. So do you have fax or email, or I can get your home address? Leave me with your information, please. I'm to give you that deservability treatment. And you're to begin saying this deservability treatment every day, every day, every day. Don't let a day go by. And when you say it, you read it out loud. So you hear it back. I am deserving. I deserve all good. Not some, not a little bit, but all good. That's how it starts. You need to hear that day in and day out. Now, before you read it, you're to take some deep heart breaths. Those breaths that we've been taking, you're to take those before you read it. And as you take those breaths, you're to say, I am deserving. And you're to breathe in what it feels like deep within your heart to be deserving. I am deserving. And breathe it deep in your heart. You're to take 5 of those breaths. So you take 5 deep, I am deserving heart breaths, and then you read your deservability treatment out loud. And then you go to the mirror. So you have 5 I am deserving heart breaths. You have your deservability treatment that you're reading out loud, and then you're to go to the mirror, and you're to look in your eyes. And you're to say, all of a sudden I'm feeling all of you. I am deserving of God. For your real fear is that you're not deserving of God. Like you may think it's about something out here, but you're really afraid that you don't measure up to God, that you don't measure up for God. Boy, this is a theme here in this group, huh? You're to look deeply into your eyes, and you're to say, and talk it out loud as you look in the mirror deeply into your eyes, I am deserving of God. And just stand there for a moment and look in those eyes and say it 3 times out loud. I am deserving of God. I am deserving of God. I am deserving of God. Okay? This is the beginning to break this block, if you will, that you call it a block. But really, it's not so much a block as you relaxing in the truth of who you are. For you are deserving of God. Now, regarding your worthiness, it feels like you were told something about who you were as a child that wasn't true, that made you question your worthiness. And it began very young. I think somewhere around the age of 5. I don't know if you can remember. It really doesn't matter if you remember where it all began. But I want you to understand that this feeling of not being worthy started when you were about 5 years old, because some people told you. They may not have said you're not worthy, but they implied such. And from their implied message, you took it to heart and believed it was true. It was so far from the truth of who you are. So far. What you want to do is go back to when you were 5. Now you can just be lying in bed. It feels like for you, as you're starting to go to sleep, you know that threshold of sleep, like when we're half asleep and half awake, but we're not completely asleep yet? You're to do this every night as you're starting to fall asleep, when you're in that threshold of sleep. It's actually a hypnotic stage that we automatically go through, naturally, that threshold of sleep. So you feel yourself drifting in a sleep, but you're still semi-awake. And you're to see yourself as a little girl. Breathe into your heart and imagine the little girl of you that's 5 years old sitting within your heart. Can you do that? And if you can see her, see her. See her face, see what clothes she has on, see what environment she's in. If you cannot see her, then you feel her and you intend her. It doesn't matter. If with your intention, it will be so. So you experience this little girl within your heart as you're falling asleep. Then you say to her, I love you and God loves you, and you deserve everything you want. And you just say that to her. I love you, God loves you, and you deserve everything that you want. And every night, as you're falling asleep, you're seeing that little girl inside of you, and you're telling her, I love you, God loves you, and you deserve everything that you want. Do it when you're still awake, and if you're thinking about your day, you do it as you're falling into sleep, and you're just on that cusp of going into la-la land, if you will. You do it then. For what will happen is all resistance, all concerns, all worries will be by the wayside. In other words, your critical mind will be falling asleep. So your subconscious mind will take it in deep. That's why I want you to do it then, you see. Can you tell I used to be a hypnotist? It will work for you to do it at that time. So you want to do the two things I told you. Okay? The little girl at 5 years old, and you're to do that for 30 days with the little girl. You can do it more, but the minimum is 30 days. Okay? To make that change. And then during the day, you're going to be breathing in, you're going to be reading your deservability treatment, and you're going to be looking in the mirror. You're going to combine those three things. Are you committed to doing those three things in the morning and doing the little girl deserving as you fall asleep? Are you committed to doing those?
Yeah.
Then your life will certainly change. For I can tell you some superficial or surface things you can do about those problems, and it might even help you move them a little, but you'll come back smack dab in the place you were before, unless you do these kinds of deep healing exercises, you see. This is the core of what's really going on with you. And when we reach that core, we change. When we can work on the core problem, our lives can become miracle upon miracle. We can live in the fullness of who we are, and we can know that we are loved every day of our lives. We can know we don't stand alone. We can rock away all our worries. You need any more information? Or do you have another question? Say that it. Okay. And your question regarding your health is? It feels like the lupus started from the strain that you feel. Do you notice you feel a strain within you? Like you strain to do things, to accomplish things, to achieve things. There's a strain that takes place. When you can quit this straining, if you will, your lupus can relax. And as you relax and your lupus relax, it's as if it just goes in the shadow as opposed to the forefront of your life. And you will be much better. So what you'll want to do is when you find yourself pushing, any kind of pushing at all, this applies to somebody over here real big. Okay? When you find yourself pushing against something, just notice, because you'll feel it in your body. Like when you're pushing, when you're straining, can you tell me where you feel it in your body?
In my joints.
In your joints? So when you may notice your body before you become aware that you're pushing. So notice where you feel the pushing in your body. And so when your joints are bothering you, it's like, whoa, my joints are bothering me. Wow, I must be pushing against something. How can I stop the pushing? Maybe it's just taking in a deep breath. Maybe it's taking in a deep breath and reassuring myself there is no struggle. Life is not meant to be a struggle. Life is meant to flow in harmonious perfection. So I think it's becoming aware of how your body feels when you push. Notice that, stepping back, taking a deep breath, and asking yourself the right question. And the right question for those who push would be, how can I do this in a relaxing kind of way? Or how can I do this with the least effort? That would be the right question to turn it around. Okay? With the least effort. Minimum efficiency, but least effort. That will help your lupus more than all the medication you can possibly take. Okay? Become aware. When you notice your joints, you step back, you take a deep breath, and you ask the right question. And then you abide by what you hear. You abide, you see. You do what you hear as opposed to what you were doing. Get that? Oh, you're so welcome. Any other questions? You're allowed another. Looks like there's more in your mind is why I'm asking you that.
Yes.
They're not letting you see them?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to tell you something that you will feel like is the opposite of what you need to do. Will you bear with me here, please? You are to send them love.
I've already forgiven them because they're my children. I have no hatred in my heart. All I have is love. When you push me up against the wall, I become angry. And I won't deny them. But those are innocent. They have no reason to be caught up in our adult disagreements.
Right. Yes.
They ask to see me all the time. They won't let them talk to me on the phone.
Give me just a moment. There are two things here. Okay? First of all, want to just send them love. Okay? By that I mean literally send them love. So what you're going to do, and this don't take this lightly. This love stuff works. I'll give you an example of myself. My father, some years back when I was still living in St. Louis, Missouri, my hometown, I began sending him love. And what I would breathe it in, the way I'm going to teach you to do it, okay? I was doing the same thing. I was sending him love just because I felt like he needed it. And my father's not one to tell me he loves me and hugs me, or not then anyway. But he gives me potatoes to take home or a plant to take home or some canned peaches or something. He always gives me foods or plants or something. That's his way of saying I love you. Well, I began sending him love, and I was doing it week after week, and I would go visit my family on most Sundays. So one Sunday I went over, and he came up and told me he hugged me, and he told me he loved me. And I thought, he doesn't usually hug me and tells me he loves me. And I said, Mom, is Dad sick? She said, no, hon, why? So the next weekend, I'm still sending this love. The next weekend I go over, and he does the same thing again. And I said, Mom, is Dad done? She's like, no, hon, why? And then I was driving home, and I thought, it's that love stuff. It's that love stuff. I've been sending him love with just the intention, with no expectation of receiving anything from him, other than with the pure intent to share my love with him. You can do this with your father. You hear me? Okay. Pure intention. And with that intention, he felt it. And he could not help but respond back to it. You have to have the intention to do it without expectation, with just the intention of sending the love. Okay? Here's how you do it. You see love from the Most High. And I always see pink. Sometimes it has a little gold in it. But if you see it purple or you see it green, whatever you see it, you envision it that way for you. So you bring that love from the Most High into your heart. So you breathe it in. I'm breathing in love right into my heart. And then as you exhale, I'm sending that love from my heart too. And you imagine it going from your heart to the person you're sending it to, directly, right smack in the middle of their heart. my heart to your heart, my love to you. You do it with your children. Is it son, daughter, son, what? Son and daughter-in-law? So you do it with your son, then you do it with your daughter-in-law. And you could keep doing it. You could do it 2 or 3 times to each of them. And then you do it with your grandchildren. Send them love, then send your grandchildren love. This is first and foremost. Send love. However, you're not asking for their forgiveness. You're not forgiving them. You're not intending that they change their ways. You're not saying, I need to see my grandchildren. All you're doing is sending them love. You all hear this? Will help him as well as you. Send them love. That's first. Next, you begin in your mind having a relationship now with your grandchildren. You envision being with them. But wait until after you've sent love, so that you're in a space of not crying because it's not really happening. You see? You want to feel to the depth of your beingness. You want to experience that you're truly in relationship right here, right now, with your beloved grandchildren. So you want to see yourself talking with them, hugging them, loving on them, playing with them, whatever you want to see. Experience it, milk it for all it's worth. Have a relationship with them right now in your mind and in your heart. And as you do, if you will continue doing this day after day, the void of not being with them, you will forget, you will wonder, am I seeing them or am I not seeing them? Because what you imagine will become so real inside of you. And who knows? It may just be they pop up one day because you've been sending love and you've been enjoying them so much. They don't feel you pushing against them. Oh, do not think that what you feel about somebody that they don't know. Do not think if you've got anger that they're not feeling it. People know. People experience it. People feel it. Your son and daughter-in-law, they feel all these emotions you have, which triggers their emotions even more. So if you can bring all these emotions to the one emotion of love, and they begin just feeling that love, and they begin feeling that joy of you being with your grandchildren now, all these other emotions will fall by the wayside. For there will only be love and joy. And when you can experience the love and the joy, and allow that love and the joy to override everything else, you will not feel as if you miss them. And when you can get to a place of not missing them, and fully experience just giving love for the pure sake of giving love, and envisioning being with your grandchildren and feeling it in your heart as if it were true, as if it were really happening right here and now, they will have to come forth to meet your vibration. But right now they can't. There's too many emotions for you and for them and for the grandchildren. So you have to bring your self to a place of this love and joy, you see. Can you do that? It will change your relationship with all of them. This applies to many of you in your relationships. You feel complete with that answer? You are so welcome. I think we should probably take a break now. Does that feel right to everyone to take a short break? Say,
There's a bunch of questions I can tell.
want to ask a question before we take a break? Let's let her ask a question before we take a break, okay? And then we'll take a break. It's okay, I'll figure it out. If you can just give me a little bit, it'll come together.
There's a lot of anger in my family. I try so hard to make everybody happy and get along. And it just feels like they don't. And I have a hole in my heart. And I don't know what my purpose is anymore because I think I'm living my dream and have everything I want, but I don't feel it.
taken from us.
Do you mean he died?
He was murdered.
You know he was ready to go? You know that?
Yeah.
Are you sure? He's telling me he was ready to go. He's sorry it had to happen the way it happened. He's very sorry it had to happen the way it happened. But he was very ready to go.
He told me if he went to prison again, he wasn't going to come back.
So he was murdered in prison?
I believe in after. We're all spirits. We're just in their bodies for right now. But imagine that he sees my children and he knows his daughter's grown up to be a beautiful young lady.
Yeah.
And he this guy a lot.
He loves you all very much. He loves you all very much. And he was quite a lot to handle.
Yeah.
Telling me he was quite a lot. He's here. He's telling me he was quite a lot to handle. And he's sorry he was always quite a lot to handle. But he wants you to know he loves you all very much. And he watches you. There's something you do that he watches. What do you do with your hands? Like, there's something... What, you do that with your hand?
She does that all the time. She never stops doing that.
She has no clue what she's doing.
Oh, that's what, because I think, what is that he's showing me with his hands? He watches you do that with your hands, and he touches your hands when you do that. He's touching when you do this. Yeah, I thought something's a little strange, but okay. So he's touching your hands when you do that with your hands. He lightly puts his hands over your hands to try to calm you whenever he sees you do that with your hands.
That's what she does.
Did you say, dear?
I tell her to stop doing that all the time.
Yeah, you do it out of nervousness. You do it out of uncomfortableness. You do it out of worry. And so he lightly puts his hands over your hands when you do that. And he says, so next time you do that, know that you're being touched by him. And then he wants you to stop doing it, and he wants you to do this. Will you look at me a moment here? He wants you to do this. Next time you do that, however you do that, it will be a reminder that he's got his hands on yours. Do like this, and he's actually going to set his hand inside of yours. Do it now, and he's right in front of you, and he's putting his hands in yours. He's looking at you. Right now, I can feel him. He's got his hand. Oh, my hands are vibrating like you wouldn't believe. Woo! A lot of energy. So he has his hands on yours. And he's saying because he's not where you're at physically, he can even stand on your feet and you won't be hurt. So he's got his feet on your feet. But he says if he were here in form like you, or like it would hurt you. But he can't hurt you. So he's got his feet on your feet, and he doesn't have any shoes on either. He's going barefooted. And he's got his hands on your hands, and he's kind of like this, and he says he can stay there a long time, that he doesn't get uncomfortable physically. And he's okay. He's okay. Not to worry about him, that he was supposed to die when he died. But he's sorry it happened that way. He's sorry it was always so much to handle. He keeps wanting to talk about being so much to handle. And he really wants you to know he's real sorry about always being so much to handle. It's like he's saying, I always was. He did not mean to hurt you or to hurt anyone. He never meant to cause harm or hurt, is what he's saying. He never meant to cause harm or hurt. Yeah, those are his words. Harm or hurt. Okay? He's still standing there with you. Yes. That if you can know that he puts his hands on yours, it will help you to start calming down. And he wants to help you to calm down. Because he says you always wore a worrywart. Is that what he say? Were those his words? Okay. Yeah, I think this is what he's saying. Worrywart? You always wore a worrywart. And he's saying you don't have to be a worrywart anymore. You don't have to be. He wants you to know that you don't have to be. It's a lot of your troubles, he says, start way in your head before they're trouble. Like he says that you just worry, and then you just worry some more. And it's this worrying that is actually more of a problem for you than anything else you think is a problem. Like, it's your biggest problem. The fact that you worry creates so many other problems. Like, you have one problem and you think you have a dozen. And your one problem, he's saying to use it again, is that you're a worrywart.
Yeah, I worry about things before they happen.
Yeah, that's what he's telling me. It's like, he's showing me, like, she worries and it's out here, but then she's already there. Like, she's already, you worry, and worry some more. Like, he's showing me that your whole head, like, your head is filled with worry. He doesn't want you to worry. Enough of your life has been wasted with being a worrywart. No more wasting the rest of your life. And he's saying that we all, meaning everybody on earth, we don't understand that we're always going to be okay. Like, we don't understand in the end we're going to be okay anyway, no matter what we do or how we live, that we're really going to be okay. And he's saying that we worry about everything, and some of us more than others, and he's pointing to you. It's because we don't understand that we really are okay now and we'll be okay later. Like, we really are okay. That we're always loved, we're always protected. And he's saying he was protected even though he was murdered. Like, he created having to go back to prison. You see, he says, it was all in his hand. That's what he's saying. It was all in my hand. I laid out my cards. I knew what the deck. I had the deck. Did he play cards? What? Oh, that's why I'm seeing. That's why I'm hearing ding, ding, ding. Okay. I kept wondering why he's showing me cards, but I'm hearing ding, ding, ding. It's the strangest thing. Okay. Well, he says he knew his hand. Like, he had the deck of cards. Here's how he's wanting me to tell you. And he's saying tell you everybody here. Okay. He's showing me a deck of cards, and he's saying we all have this deck of cards. So think of the deck of cards of what we're dealt with, like kind of like what we come to life with, who we are. And then we get this deck of cards. And he's saying we can take these cards and we can make a full house, we can make a straight, I think he's calling it, a flush. Yeah, that kind of thing he's saying. I don't really know all this stuff. Okay, so he's saying full house, straight, flush thing. we can make whatever we want, but we have the deck of cards and we can choose how we play our hand. We can choose what kind of hand we have. We can choose if it's a jack of spades or an ace of diamonds or the joker card. We can choose. So he's saying, take your deck of hand and make out of it what you want. And there's no worries because you're going to be okay. You're okay really now, and you're going to be okay if you're murdered in prison. You're still okay. Like, it really doesn't matter because he has I'm going to use his word, hell of a good time over there. And he's saying even though it's heaven, he has a hell of a good time. So he's wanting you to lighten up, you see. He's showing the deck of cards to explain that we have choice, you see. But he's saying, stick with the deck of cards. You don't have to tell them choice. Just stick with the deck of cards. They get it. Like, he wants me to keep with this deck of cards idea. Do you want a full house, or do you want a straight, or what do you want a royal flush? That's what he's trying to say, because he's showing me a king, and I can't figure out why he's saying, but I'm not hearing the word royal. He says, I don't know enough about poker. You know how much lighter you feel now? Because you're hearing truth. Do you notice that when you experience truth, how something shifts inside of you? You notice that? Do you feel that? You see how truth lightens the load? That it was our disbelief that created the heaviness? It wasn't truth. It was the disbelief. Your disbelief, if you will, is that you believe you have to worry. So you want to retrain your mind. You willing to play with your mind a little? He's saying, oh boy, watch out, because I really got a card of tricks, or trick of, how you say that? He's saying trick. I got some tricks up my sleeve with my cards, with my deck. He's kind of making fun. He likes to make fun because he's kind of making fun about this cards, and watch out what cards I'm going to throw you now. Okay, I'm going to give you some ideas how to use your mind differently. All right? Because your problem starts in your mental process. Okay? And it starts with the worry. So let me just sit a moment with that, okay? What you're going to have to do, think of it, you have this path that you're used to following. And this path, let's say this path is straight and then it veers to the right. And think of that path in your brain. It's like your neural pathways, but I'm going to teach it to you in a simpler way, okay? So the path goes here and it veers to the right. And the right is worry. And what we have to do is retrain your mind to quit doing this and begin doing this, which is non-worry, or living in joy, living in trust. You don't trust that things will work out. You don't trust that all is well. You don't trust that life works with ease. You see? You're not trusting. And in you're not trusting, you're worrying. With me? Okay. Hearing NLP. NLP is it means neuro-linguistic programming. It's just different ways of using your mind. So I'm to teach you some little NLP technique, okay? Okay, you're to imagine worry. If you were to imagine worry, if you were to give it a color, what color would worry be? Okay, if you were to give it a shape, what shape would it be?
Worry?
Mm-hmm.
Blob.
Okay, a blob of orange. It's a big blob. And how big is it? Is it little or is it big?
Big.
Big blob of orange. And when you think about this big blob of orange, is it far away or is it close up to you? Or is it sitting in your lap? Where is it in relation to you?
Pretty much in my lap.
There's a big blob of orange sitting in your lap, right? So what you want to do is you want to take this big blob of orange that's sitting in your lap, and you want to say, and you want to watch it blow away. You want to imagine that it's sitting in your lap, and then you want to just blow it. And as you blow it, you see it come off your lap, and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And as it goes away, you just blow it. You take a deep breath, and you blow it some more. You take a deep breath, then you blow it some more. And each time you blow it, it gets smaller and dimmer and farther away. Smaller, dimmer, farther away. Okay? So when you find yourself worrying, do you become aware of it because the way you're thinking? Do you feel it in your body? How do you become aware when you're worrying? How do you become aware of your worry? Does this? Okay, so when you notice you're doing this, and you will start noticing it now because we've brought it to your attention, the first step to change is always awareness, and now you have the awareness, so you can trust that you have the awareness to when you're worrying. Okay? Put your hands like this, and allow him to put his hands on yours, and then notice that big blob of orange in your belly, on your lap. And then take a deep breath, and start blowing it. And notice, and he'll move aside. Just go like this with your hands because he's going to move aside for you and allow that big blob of orange to start moving. And to see it get smaller and dimmer and farther away. Smaller, dimmer, and farther away. Until you notice it disappears. You're to begin doing that. You put your hands out, allow him to touch them. You move your hands to the side a little. Notice your orange blob. And then begin your process of blowing it where it becomes dimmer, smaller, and farther away. You got it? You're to break your pattern. Every time you notice you're doing this, you're to stop and do this process I just talked with you about. Every single time. Because if you do this enough, you'll get where you don't do this anymore. But you have to be willing to make breaking your pattern of worry more important to you than the worrying itself. You understand? So you got that to do with worry. Now we want to build on your trust a little. So how about we take a break and when we come back, we'll build on your trust. How's that sound? Does that sound good to everybody? Okay. So let's just say 7:45. Okay, we'll come back together. Okay, enjoy your break. Lots of poo-poos.